Okay, guys. I just watched the Slumber Party Massacre remake, which, if you're like me, you didn't even know existed until like a couple weeks ago. Um, I forgot what I was doing, but like something popped up about the Slumber Party Massacre remake. I think it was on Facebook, and I was like, "They really remade Slumber Party Massacre?" like, and it was just kind of thrown out there. But it did have me curious because generally speaking, it got good reviews. And I'm like, okay, well, that's odd. Normally, that doesn't really happen that much with a remake. I'm not saying it can't happen, but typically it doesn't go that way. Now, my thoughts on the Slumber Party Massacre series as a whole is I love it. I absolutely love it. I remember when this first came out, I pre ordered this, which one of the most iconic posters from the 1980s is this. The Slumber Party Massacre cover. Also, I got this. Yeah, I got a steelbook with it, a Blu-ray steelbook of the first one with that, but that's somewhere else. And I have I've shown this before. I showed it when I did the Mutilator 2 review. I have that Mutilator posters is now on video cassette. I have a very similar one that's Slumber Party Massacre 2 with the rockabilly dude with the guitar drill and all that shit. Yeah, I got that. I need to frame that. I really do. I've been meaning to frame that over the years. It's just such an odd size. It's hard to find a frame for it without spending a ridiculous amount of money. So going into this, I really went in with no expectations. Just kind of thought it'd be like a schlocky kind of feel to it, and what I got was just utter garbage. Like, I don't know how this thing is getting praised. Maybe, well, I kind of had an idea, but um, let me get started with this. First off, the movie starts in 1993, and these girls are at like this cabin by a lake, and Russ Thorn. It is Russ Thorn, so a guy that kind of looks like Russ Thorn is in there killing him, and she ends up surviving, knocking him off the pier and into the water. Um, we fast forward to present day where her daughter is going to the same cabin, and yeah, she's worried about her and all that. So her and her friends go into the cabin, but you later find out that they went to the cabin to find Russ Thorn to lure him by having a stereotypical slumber party so that they can kill him. And across the lake, there's these frat dudes, like these dude bros. Literally, one's called Guy One and Guy Two. That's his name in the movie. That's their name in the movie. Um, and they're across the lake, and they're the ones doing the stereotypical stuff, like the pillow fighting and the shower scenes. There's a lot of male nudity in this, which I'm cool with. Equal opportunity, right? And it sells itself as a parody, but what does not work in this instance is that the original Slumber Party Massacre is a parody among itself. Who directed the original? It was Amy something. Let me see. I got the thing here. Amy Jones. Amy Jones did the original Slumber Party Massacre, and her intent with the screenwriter, both women, were doing a parody of the slasher film at the time, which it came out in 1982. So they're doing a parody at the time of slasher movies in general. And I know a lot of it. I think the person who wrote it wrote some feminist books too. I believe. I have. I don't remember much of the backstory, but I know there's been some feminists on this movie, and every movie in the series has been written and directed by a woman, which is great because most slasher stuff you don't really get that from. Which I've always said that's great. So I'm cool with that. But when it's a parody already, why is it? It seemed like they didn't understand what made the original so great. Because I view the original as like quintessential slasher of the 80s. Even though it was a parody, it still does good even if you don't recognize it's a parody, which is kind of hard to believe that people can't recognize it as one. Um, and the and one thing is the characters. The characters here are so unlikable and so not memorable. Like the only one that even has the slightest that I remember, one is the mom character because she does come back in the movie later on and she was cool. Like I liked her. And then her daughter who is the lead and she has this whole spiel saying like how much of a badass we are and how we're not going to take shit from nobody and all this stuff, and then they do the tropes that they're satirizing. Like they immediately split up when they shouldn't. They um they make stupid decisions, which if you're this group of badass girls trying to stop a killer, you're really making some dumbass decisions. And just the constant winking at the camera and like, okay, this is one thing. I saw Scream 5 yesterday. Or I mean Scream 7 yesterday. And I've noticed this, and this is becoming a trope in a lot of movies. Stop it with the fucking true crime podcast, people. Like, I don't like true crime. I don't. I have my issues with it. Like, okay, this may sound hypocritical coming from me who watches nothing but, like, slasher films and exploitation movies. But mine are fake. Mine aren't based on real people's real tragedy and tears and sorrow. I don't like to find entertainment in that. Which, that bias aside, you can enjoy it if you want. That's just where I stand on it. But then you get these characters that always have a fucking true crime podcast or want to start one or is obsessed with one. Terrifier 3 had that girl that had the true crime podcast. Scream 7, one of the guys in there wanted to start one or had one. I can't remember if he had one or started one or whatever. But it's just like enough of that. Enough of that trope. That's one that needs to go away. But the but on the other side you have the frat dudes who have the pillow fights and have all the nudity in the film. Which that's fine, like I said. Like I think there should be more male nudity in slasher movies and horror movies in general and in all across film. Because the women have begun the raw end of the deal for a while. And I think it's time for some men, especially that's why Trauma is so amazing because they actually show a lot of dick and a lot of male nudity and don't shy away from it. But this movie just kept pissing me off. It didn't piss me off as much as Mutilator 2, which I don't know. I don't know how because honestly, I think Mutilator 2 is a better movie. Like if I were to pick the two, Slumber Party Massacre remake or this one or the Mutilator 2, actually I'd probably pick this one, the Slumber Party Massacre one, because Mutilator 2 was like 80 minutes, but it felt like 3 fucking hours. This one kind of went by. And they overcomplicated the plot. They truly did because an hour into the movie they kill Russ Thorne. And then somebody is up and killing again. Ooh. And you find out that the person that lent them the cabin, like the caretaker or whatever, is Russ Thorne's mother, and that I guess he was kind of mentally challenged, I guess. And then because of that she protected him over the years, but now is seeking revenge for his death, which his death literally happened like 20 minutes ago and you're starting up killing already. Man, give it some time before you do that. Like, you almost could have led up to a sequel. But no, she comes up killing people with a Zaza and a nail gun. It's just the original. The original did such a good job with characters. One thing, because every single girl I remember, and every single guy I remember, and they were likable and jokey, and they weren't. They were written very well to where, yeah, they're a parody of the characters you would see in slasher movies, but they had their own identity besides that. These characters are all parody, and that's it. It's like, oh, insert this, insert that. Like I said, two of the guys from the male group is known as Guy 1 and Guy 2. And of course, the film has to break the fourth wall and mention that. And the scenes that they take from the other movie, from the original one, is just done so poorly. And it's like, it's just put in there almost as a joke. Like I said, I don't think the makers of this movie understood the genius of the original Slumber Party Massacre. And they do have a guitar in there that is very similar to the driller killer in part two. Very similar. And there's a fight with it. The gore is really not even that great. At least Mutilator 2 had great gore. This one really didn't have good gore. Which I saw at the beginning of it. It was a sci-fi original, which I know some of this couldn't air on TV, so maybe they produced it or they had like the TV cut or whatever. But the one I watched was the unrated, obviously, because there was some man ass and a lot of gore. But if I were to say anything, just stay away from this movie. I was so mad watching this. Like, I watched this with my mom, and she has seen the original, but she hasn't seen it in a while. And after I get done recording this, I'm gonna go watch the original because I cannot end my day with this movie. I can't. I have to watch something else. And if I'm gonna cleanse my palate, it's gonna be of the original Slumber Party Massacre. Quick, easy, in and out, very satisfying. And okay, this is what really irritated me. The guy who plays Rush Thorn, he kind of looks like the actor who played him in the original. I'll give him that. They did get somebody that kind of looked like him, but he says the lines where Russ Thorn was very intimidating in the original. Like, he's a very creepy and like made those scenes very intense when he talked, because like most of the time he's like bug-eyed and like just staring at people, very very tense. But when he does talk, he's in a soft voice, but it's very intimidating and it's creepy. This guy does it like a cartoon character. He's like, I love you, you're all very pretty. It's like, that's not what he did. The original Russ Thorn made it creepy. This guy, you're almost, to me, it felt like they're making fun of the original one. Like, some of this parody that they're trying to accomplish goes as far as something you would see the Wayans brothers do with a scary movie. And I don't know if that was their intent. I don't know anything about the background of this movie. I just know for some reason it was giving rave reviews. Which, bullshit. It doesn't deserve it. I hate that this is part of a franchise I loved. I love part one. I love part two for its own reasons. Part three, though, is the weakest of the franchise. I still think it's generally a fun movie. Like, it's a good background flick. It was typical of the slasher at the time, and it's just, to me, funny enough, it's kind of a relaxing movie to me to put on. It's just kind of, it knows exactly what it is. It doesn't try that hard, and it's just what you get. That's the product you get. But I do like it. I do enjoy it. Now I have to say, there is a bad movie in the series, and I can't call it a trilogy anymore. And that's the thing that pisses me off. And the fact, like, I don't think anybody would ever question if I say, Oh, one of my favorite slashers is Slumber Party Massacre. I don't think anybody would be confused that I was talking about the remake. Because, like I said, I never even heard of the thing until like 2 weeks ago. And then I said in one of the reviews I did, I think it was Blood Tracks, the blind buy-in, that I was gonna watch it. I kept putting it off because I watched like the first 10 minutes and it was just fucking awful. I mean, it's poorly shot. Two, it's poor. It's just it's so poorly made. It does look like a Sci-Fi Channel original. Which I mean, hell, sometimes you get Pumpkinhead 3 and 4, and sometimes you get Sharknado with that stuff. So you know, depends what you get that week. Um, yeah, avoid this movie. It's free on Plex. That's where I watched it was Plex. Because fuck no, I'm not paying for this. Um, I don't even want it in my collection. Horrible, just crap. Just such a slap in the face to the original that did it so well. And the writing was clever. And the jokes were clever. And it wasn't like shoved in your face that, hey, we're females writing this and we're making fun of it. It was a parody that was also a great slasher movie on top of it and stood the ranks of what came around it around the same time. And even to this day is regarded as a classic. And then you're gonna just shit all over it with this remake, which I think was trying to make fun of the original one, which you can't make fun of the original, it's already a fucking parody. But, I just think it's utterly pointless. And if you're not gonna do anything different, which they did try to do something different, but it overcomplicated. The original was just an escaped lunatic that ended up at a high school and found a drill from the maintenance person and then went to the slumber party. That was it. It wasn't anything like, oh, well, it's the legend of Russ Thorne that's about true crime podcasts and he has like 20 victims and then his mom protects him and then she gets revenge. Oh, it's just fucking stupid, man. It's just so fucking stupid. But anyway, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go watch the original one, actually. I'm gonna go watch the original one and maybe when I'm going to sleep tonight, watch the second one. I need to cleanse my palate a little bit. Alright, see ya.